Hi guys, it's Sophie. So I'm back with a bookish video today and I'm back face to face. I thought it'd be fun to carry on with that for these kind of videos. And what I wanted to do today is just basically catch up on all the things I've read since I spoke to you last about books. So I'm not going to go into all of these in loads of detail, but I just wanted to kind of share where I'm at, a bit of a check-in, and I'll talk about ones I particularly enjoyed or ones I'd really recommend. We're going to start with fiction. So I read Trust Exercise by Susan Choi, Severance by Ling Ma. I picked this one up at the very beginning of lockdown and it ended up being way too much, but by the time I got around to it I did really enjoy it, so I would recommend that one. Galatea 2.2 by Richard Powers, didn't like. Pages for Her by Sylvia Brownrigg. Found this one much harder to get into than Pages for You and ultimately didn't love it as much as I was hoping. I actually listened to this one, Adults by Emma Jane Unsworth, and I liked it on audiobook. Though it's such a pretty book, I slightly wish I'd picked it up in a hardback at the time though, and I'm not going to include all the audiobooks I listened to. I couldn't physically read much anything at all, so I listened to a lot of audiobooks, so I'm glad I managed to get to that one way or the other. Then we have Nevada by Imogen Binney. This is the only book so far this year I've picked up that has been by a trans author, and I tried at the beginning of the year to find some books, but I only ended up buying this one, so this was the only one I had in the house, but I did read it. It's really easy and quick to read, so if you're looking to expand and read more trans authors, I did enjoy this one. Then Strange Hotel by Ema McBride. I finally picked up Strange Weather in Tokyo by Hiromi Kawakami. And then I read all of Yoko Owagawa's work that I could find and really loved it. I don't know whether I ever uploaded it, but I filmed a video pre-lockdown talking about these books and how much I loved them. So I would recommend all of them. I picked up The Memory Police first because it was on the Man Booker International list, and if you haven't read that one yet, give it a read, but I really like the back collection too. So as I say, we're just going short and sweet. Partly because some of these I read in like March and I don't think I could talk about some of the ones I've read in March as well as the ones I could talk about that I've just read, which feels a bit unfair on them. So I think kind of let's just do a catch up and then from here on in I can talk more. So I read Exposure by Olivia Suchek, really small one I've been meaning to pick up for a while, talking about her kind of sudden rise to notoriety and the impact that had on her and her anxiety. I read The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk, and this was probably the one that managed to get me back into reading physical books, so I have a specific kind of fond feeling towards this book because it had been a good couple months but when I couldn't read anything at all. Difficult Women by Helen Lewis, Fierce Attachments by Vivian Gornick, and then I have a little collection of books here that I read that are all kind of focused around race and kind of the impact that race has. I've got a few more that I'm reading at the moment, but I'll just share again just an overview of them and ones I particularly recommend. So I read White Fragility along with everyone else, and I hear the conversation and comments around this being the first book to pick up. And I did a little bit of research and found out what people were saying, and they were saying broadly, if you read it already or you want to read it, but read more widely, which I kind of was going to do anyway, but I think really good advice. So if you've only read White Fragility, maybe think about some of the other ones I'm going to talk about, or look around out there. There's loads of people recommending great non-fiction at the moment. So the one that was given to me as a counter book is White Rage. So we've got White Fragility and White Rage, and this one is broadly, I would say, a history book, so looking sort of all the way through from slavery to almost modern day, and about race relations in that whole period. And I would agree, I think that gives you less of a story than White Rage does. Hood Feminism by Mikki Kendall, which I loved. Definitely recommend this, particularly if you are someone who identifies as a feminist. You need to read this one. So You Want to Talk About Race by Ijeoma Oluo, and this one is like a primer. That's kind of how I'd best describe this one, so it might be a good one to start with if you are exploring the topic and not sure what to pick up first. And this one, which came out I think it was last year, Black is the Body by Emily Bernard, and I adored this, absolutely adored this, loved her style of writing. and I'm going to go away and buy what other things she has written, because she's one of those authors I just really gelled with. This is an essay collection, and like I sometimes when I read essay collections, there's something about the author that I really get, as in like there's a connection there that feels like I'm like, oh my god, I need to read everything that they've ever written, and I definitely got that when I was reading this one. So I know lots of people have picked this up already, but if you haven't, this is probably one of my overall recommendations, this and Hood Feminism, from this whole set of reading I've done in the last 4 months. And the last book I've read since I was away is Medical Apartheid by Harriet A. Washington, and again, I love this book. You guys know that I like medical nonfiction, in its own right, and this was talking about the way in which medicine has treated Black people sort of throughout the history within America and other countries as well, and what that means for medicine today. I pre-ordered her new book that's coming out, and I want to read her backlist too. So yes, that is what I have read in the time that I've been away. I didn't want to make a super long video sort of going in depth to all of them at the moment, but what I might do is just carry on doing more in-depth conversations as I go along, because I do generally prefer that, but just the volume of books and the time it took me to read all of them meant that didn't feel right for today's video. So hopefully short and sweet. Let me know what you're reading down below. I'm currently reading Evicted. I can't remember the author's name. I'm nearly finished with it though, but I'm currently reading Evicted, which I'm really loving, talking about the way that renting and evictions work and how they disproportionately impact people of colour, and how the eviction system works to maintain people who are in poverty within that poverty, and gives no chance really of improving upon your own situation because the rent takes up so much of the money. But anyway, I'm gonna go too in depth into that one now, but I'm really enjoying that, and really loving reading all of the non-fiction I'm reading at the minute. So leave me what you're reading down below. Let me know what you've really enjoyed, and sorry I've been away for such a long time and haven't been able to talk about more of these in detail, because there's some really brilliant ones in here that, had I kind of been a bit more on it, I probably would have had some longer chats with you about. So I'll see you guys soon in another video. May well be non-bookish stuff next, partly just because I'm reading a lot less at the moment. I'm doing a lot of study, I'm doing a lot of wedding planning. So yeah, I'll see you soon. I'm not sure what I'm going to film yet. I've not updated my to film list beyond this video, so I'll have a bit of a think, but you'll see me again either next week or the week after. See you soon. Bye. Thank you.